Greenland, a place most people picture as ice and silence. But in global politics, it's starting to look like a lever. Not because of the snow, but because of what sits under it and what passes around it. Here's the strange part. In Davos, President Trump said he wouldn't use force to acquire Greenland. But the push itself tells us something deeper. How modern power thinks about money, trade, and control. So let's do this like we always do. Not as a headline, but as a system. Start with a concept you'll feel instantly. Access versus ownership. You can lease access. You can sign treaties. You can negotiate basing rights. But ownership is different, because ownership changes who gets the final vote. Economists call it an option value. In plain language, when the future is uncertain, the side that holds the option holds the leverage. And Greenland is basically a bundle of options. Security options, shipping options, and resource options. Let's break the system into 3 engines. Engine 1, Arctic security geometry. If you draw a line between North America and Europe, Greenland sits right in the middle of that strategic corridor. In a world of missiles, radar, and early warning, geography becomes a sensor. The US already has a major presence there. And Greenland's leaders have been publicly talking about the need for more surveillance and security. That's the language of a frontier becoming a front line. Here's the money part. Security isn't just defense. It's bargaining power. When your territory can see farther, your alliances become more valuable, and your rivals become more cautious. Engine 2, shipping routes and risk. Warming seasons change the Arctic's map. Routes that used to be fantasy start appearing as sometimes routes, and sometimes routes still matter. Because global trade is priced on expectations. If a route can cut days off a journey, shipping companies run the math. But insurers run a darker math. Ice risk, rescue distance, infrastructure scarcity, and geopolitical friction. Even if traffic stays limited, the strategic value still rises. Because choke points are leverage, and leverage always gets monetized. Port fees, escorts, services, security, influence. Engine 3, critical minerals. Everyone hears rare earths and imagines instant treasure. But mining in Greenland isn't a heist movie. It's a decade-long negotiation with geology, politics, and logistics. Greenland has promising rare earth potential. But major projects have faced long delays, legal battles, and controversies, especially where rare earth deposits are tied to uranium rules. That's the quiet reality. The resource might exist, but the supply takes years to become real. Now connect the dots: security, shipping, minerals. Together they form something bigger. Greenland is a piece of the Arctic balance sheet. That's why the argument isn't just, can a country buy Greenland? The deeper question is, who gets to set the rules on the frontier where the next century's trade and security might be priced? And that's where Denmark and Europe push back. Because sovereignty is the ultimate asset. You can negotiate many things, but you don't sell the right to decide your future. So what does this mean for money? Watch 3 markets: defense spending, Arctic insurance and shipping logistics, and critical mineral supply chains. Because even when politics looks emotional, the incentives underneath are usually financial. Final takeaway: Greenland isn't just a territory. It's a test of a world shifting from globalization to leverage. In the next decade, the most valuable places won't just be where people live, but where routes, resources, and sensors rewrite the bargaining table. If you want episode 2, we'll go deeper into the Arctic routes. What's real, what's hype, and who collects the tolls, visible and invisible. And for episode 3, we follow the minerals. Why rare earths don't automatically mean rare power until the supply chain becomes controllable.